My name is Alejandro Ordóñez.
And I am Derek Akrofi.
We're the founding team behind Andale, and we're here to share how we're building the software-defined sky network that will transform logistics across Latin America, starting in Honduras. Before we dive in, let me give you some quick context about who we are. I bring aerospace engineering and spaceflight operations experience from NASA, with a background in autonomous systems and flight software.
And I come from a cybersecurity and software engineering background, having worked on critical infrastructure for defense contractors. Together, we've built and scaled complex autonomous systems before, and now we're applying that expertise to solve one of Honduras and Latin America's most pressing challenges.
Let me paint a picture of logistics crisis we're addressing, both in Honduras and across Latin America. We're talking about a $360 billion logistics market that fundamentally is broken. And when I say broken, I mean it in the most literal sense. Right here in Honduras, the infrastructure challenges are severe. Storage facilities are concentrated in major cities, making them nearly inaccessible in remote and rural areas. Our ports lack supporting logistics service zones, and the agriculture sector, which drives 20% of our exports, is critically challenged by insufficient storage systems and cold chain facilities. Honduras ranks 93rd globally out of 138 economies in the Global Competitiveness Index for Transportation Infrastructure.
And that's exactly why we're building Andale. We're creating a software-defined aerial network powered by autonomous drones and coordinated by artificial intelligence. Think of it as a logistics infrastructure Honduras and Latin America would have built if starting from scratch today, but without waiting for roads, bridges, or rail lines. Our solution has three core components. First, an autonomous drone fleet capable of beyond visual line of sight operations. These aren't hobby drones. We're talking about commercial grade aircraft that can operate day and night within ranges of kilometers and payload capacities sized for real commercial applications. Second, and this is where we differentiate ourselves, is Artless, our AI coordination system. Artless is what makes the network intelligent. It optimizes flight routes in real time, manages autonomous operations across the entire fleet, handles air traffic coordination, and scales the network efficiently as we add capacity. It's the software layer that transforms individual drones into a true logistics network. Third, and most importantly, we're building infrastructure that doesn't depend on roads. While traditional logistics companies are trapped by geography, we're connecting millions of isolated people directly and transforming congested urban delivery from a street-level problem to an airspace solution. Here's what that looks like in practice. A medical facility in Tegucigalpa needs to send blood samples to a rural clinic 50 kilometers away. Today, that might take hours of driving through challenging terrains, if the roads are even passable. With Andale, it's a 40-minute autonomous flight operating 24/7, regardless of ground conditions. The same platform that handles medical delivery can also deliver e-commerce packages, emergency supplies, or time-sensitive agricultural products like Honduras coffee exports. We're not competing with trucks and vans. We're building the infrastructure that serves the markets they can't reach and the speed requirements they can't meet.
Now, you might be thinking, autonomous drone delivery sounds futuristic. Why now? Why Honduras? Let me tell you why the next 18 months represent a unique window of opportunity and why Honduras is the perfect launch market. First, Honduras regulatory framework. The Honduran Civil Aeronautics Agency, AHAC, has established clear drone regulations. Drones are categorized by weight, registration is straightforward, and commercial operations are permitted. While we'll need to work closely with the HAAC for beyond visual line of sight certification, the regulatory pathway exists. More importantly, Honduras doesn't have the bureaucratic complexity of larger markets, which means we can move faster and provide the model before expanding. Second, proven regional pathway. Our neighbors in Brazil have adopted the RBAC number 100 with SORA 2.0, the same safety framework Europe uses. Brazil conducted its first commercial beyond visual line of sight operation in 2020, and companies like Speedbird Aero have completed 22,000 flights with full beyond visual line of sight certification. This proves the model works in Latin America. We're not pioneering uncharted regulatory territory. We're following a valid pathway and will apply those learnings as we expand throughout Central America. Third, technology maturity. Drone delivery costs are projected to drop 70% by 2034, and we're already seeing 90% of deliveries operating autonomously. Battery technology has reached commercial viability. The hardware is ready. What's missing is the intelligence coordination layer, which is exactly what Arliss proves. Fourth, Honduras e-commerce explosion. Honduras' e-commerce market is projected to grow from approximately 1 billion in 2024 to 1.77 billion by 2029. That's 75% growth in 5 years. Nearly half of large and medium-sized enterprises in Honduras are now using e-commerce. The existing ground infrastructure simply cannot scale to meet that demand. And fifth, this is the kicker: competitive white space. Wing, Zipline, Amazon Prime Air, the global leaders who've proven this model works, have zero presence in Honduras or Central America. Zero. Meanwhile, only about 1 billion in venture capital has been deployed in Latin America last mile solutions, compared to 11 billion globally. Honduras gives us the perfect proving ground: manageable regulatory environment, critical infrastructure need, growing e-commerce demand, and zero competition from global players. Once we prove unit economics and operational capability here, we have a clear expansion path to El Salvador, Mexico, and Panama.
Let me walk you through how the Andale network actually operates. Vendors will interact with our platform to request a fleet for lease. No need for customers to change their workflows. We grant them access to our logistics systems and become part of their existing infrastructure. Next, Arliss, our AI, determines the optimal route based on weather conditions, airspace restrictions, fleet availability, and delivery urgency. It coordinates everything autonomously. Think of it as an air traffic control system specifically designed for logistics drones. After that, the drones launch and pursue autonomous deliveries, navigating the route using beyond visual line of sight capabilities, and deliver the package, all without human intervention, beyond initial authorization. Andale also includes confirmation and tracking with real-time verification of delivery and complete traceability. Customers see exactly where their package is, just like they could expect from any modern logistics service. The entire process, from order integration to delivery confirmation, runs on software. This means we can scale horizontally by adding drones to the fleet, and vertically by making Arliss smarter with each operation. Every flight trains the AI, making the entire network more efficient.
Now let's talk about how this translates into a viable business. We have two revenue streams. Primary revenue comes from leases. Leases are offered to participant vendors at a 20% markup of the drone fleet production cost. Lease agreements allow vendors to decide pricing and availability contracts for their leased fleet of drones. That pricing is competitive with ground delivery in Honduras and Latin America. This enables vendors to manage their own direct-to-consumer or DTC fulfillment models for drone delivery, with significantly better economics on our side. Secondary revenue comes from SaaS services. Our logistics management platform, predictive analytics, and route optimization are offered as recurring services to enterprise customers who want to use our network infrastructure. Here's why the economics work. Our drones use 94% less energy than ground vehicles for the same delivery. Traditional last mile delivery in congested Latin American cities runs $15 or more. At scale, with optimized route density, we're projecting margins of 20 to 35%. Those marketplace level margins with infrastructure level durability. We're an order of magnitude more efficient, which means we can be profitable while pricing competitively with ground delivery.
We're not starting from zero. Here's our near-term roadmap with specific milestones, starting in Honduras and expanding across Latin America. In Q2 of 2026, we're working with the Honduran Civil Aeronautics Agency to secure commercial drone operation approvals and establish the regulatory framework for beyond visual line of sight operations in Honduras, acquiring the AHAC certification. This positions us as the first mover in the Honduran market. As we move toward Q3 of 2026, we'll work towards signed letters of intent with major platforms operating in Honduras. Companies like Hugo or local logistics providers who are desperate for last mile solutions that can actually reach rural markets and handle the country's challenging terrain. For Q4 of 2026, the focus here is medical corridors connecting Tegucigalpa with regional health facilities. Medical logistics gives us the regulatory goodwill, demonstrating life-saving impact and providing operational experience before scaling to medical corridors. We're targeting 10 leases across these industries. As we move towards the following year in Q1 of 2027, with proven operations in Honduras, we begin the certification processes in Mexico, El Salvador, and Panama, following the established regulatory pathways. This opens the gateway to Central America's largest markets. For Q2 and Q3 of 2027, we'll launch operations in the aforementioned target markets and connect the isolated Caribbean communities to the e-commerce backbone, the routes where roads simply don't exist. For Q4 of 2027 and beyond, we're pushing expansion to Brazil, Colombia, and Chile, markets in South America with similar regulatory frameworks and infrastructure gaps. Honduras is our proof of concept and operational foundation. Brazil is our scale market. Together, they position us to dominate aerial logistics across Latin America.
Let's address competition head on, because we know you're thinking about it. On the global side, you've got proven players. Wing, with over 450,000 deliveries in the US, Australia, and Ireland markets. Zipline at 5.1 billion valuation with 1.4 million packages delivered across Africa. Japan and US Amazon Prime Air operating in Arizona, Texas, and Michigan. Mana with profitable unit economics in Ireland and the UK. All of these companies have proven the model works. None of them are in Honduras or Central America. On the regional side, you've got Speedbird Aero in Brazil with 22,000 flights and beyond visual line of sight certification. They've proven the regulatory pathway works in Latin America, but remain focused on Brazil with limited geographic expansion. Aerial Loop in Colombia has 50,000 flights, but faces nighttime operation restrictions that fundamentally limit scalability. And then you have the logistics giants, Mercado Libre, iFood, Rappi, who dominate ground logistics but have zero aerial capability.
Here's our advantage. We're starting in Honduras where there's no competition, no global players, and no established regional operators. We establish market dominance, prove unit economics, build regulatory relationships, and create operational excellence. Then we expand through Central and South America with proven technology and operational experience, using the advanced and validated regulatory frameworks. RLES gives us intelligent coordination at scale that none of the regional players possess. We're not trying to compete with Wing in Australia or Zipline in Africa. We're building the definitive aerial logistics network for Latin America, starting in the market that's most completely overlooked and expanding to the markets that matter the most.
So why should you believe we're the team to execute this? Beyond our core founding team, we're building a complementary team with experience in Latin American logistics, applied AI, and operations at a scale. We understand Honduras. We understand the regulatory environment that it's required. And across all Latin America, we have the technical capability to deliver AI and autonomous operations. We have the market knowledge to navigate Central American and Latin American logistic networks to a degree. Here's what we're asking for. We ask for 1.5 million in pre-seed funding. The use of these funds breaks down as follows. We have 600,000 for AHAC certification in Honduras, regulatory navigation, and operational setup, such as base of operations, the drone research, and the development. We seek 400,000 for RLES system developing and autonomy testing, and then 500,000 for team expansion and operations, including hiring local Honduran expertise and technicals. This funding unlocks 3 critical milestones. BLOS approval from Honduran regulators, establishing our first mover position, 10 commercial leases demonstrating operational viability in challenging terrains, and sign letters of intent with a Tier 1 e-commerce or logistics partner in Honduras. If we hit those milestones in Honduras, we're positioned for a Series A raise to scale across Central America and expanding into South America, the natural progression for regional dominance in aerial logistics.
So let's leave you with this. The window to build Latin America's aerial logistics backbone is open right now. Honduras gives us the perfect launch market, manageable scale, critical need, zero competition. AI gives us the competitive advantage. Millions of people across Latin America need this infrastructure today. Not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but today. We're not waiting for the future of logistics. We're building it. We'd love to answer your questions and discuss how Andale can transform the way Latin America moves goods, connects communities, and builds the infrastructure for the next century of commerce.
Thank you.